Welcome everyone to our next webinar in our Belong series. I'm Robin Eckersley, the Chief Learning Officer over at Square Circle, and I'm so excited to be bringing you today one of our Square Circle coaches, the amazing Paige Patton. Paige, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks, Robin. I love talking about this stuff with you.
Yes, this is going to be so great. And today's topic is going to be about virtual team building. Paige has 2 tips and 3 activities that you viewers can go ahead and implement with your teams right away. So Paige, let's get right into it then.
Sure.
I'm excited to get into these 3 activities. So let's take a look at the third and final activity that we have for our viewers today. This one is called Speak Up. Can you share how we do this activity?
This is a communication exercise, and
Okay.
it seems a little bit silly. It might seem a little bit hard and frustrating, but it shows us a lot of insight about how other people communicate maybe differently from how we do, and helps us level set a little bit with our communication styles. So to start off with, again, this can be, a virtual meeting. We will have players A, B, and C, and then everybody else can be observing, and then they're a part of the debrief after the activity. So I'm going to call you player A. So you're player B. So I'm player A. I choose an object. So let's say I choose a boat, and I'm just going to quietly, so player C has to turn around. That person has to close their eyes, turn around, leave the room, whatever. They're not allowed to cheat, no cheating. I'm going to write down quietly the word boat. So I'm writing the word and I'm showing to you. So I'm showing you the word boat that I have chosen.
And the other viewers who are playing.
And the other viewers, correct. Thank you. Yep. And so now your role is to draw a boat. So this is 2 degrees of separation, because now, you know what? It's kind of almost like that kids game telephone. Do you remember that game where you whisper something and it sort of changes based upon what people think they hear? So it's a little bit like that, which makes it a little bit fun and challenging. So your perception of a boat could be a huge cruise ship, or it could be a little mini sailboat, like a simple little half circle with a line coming out of it and a sail. Right? So I have given you the word boat. You're internalizing what boat looks like to you. And now you're verbally, so you don't get to say the word boat, but you're verbally telling person C, who didn't look before, hopefully, how to draw what that image is. So you may start out with, there's several different ways to do it, right? You may start out with saying, okay, put your pencil on the paper and draw a horizontal line to your right. And then, go down in a half circle below that. And that's like the part of your boat. Or you may say, draw a half moon with the flat part of the half moon facing up. So there are different ways to describe how to draw something, right? So then the person who is the artist of this activity is listening to your directions, and then this is where it's our second level of separation. Now they're internalizing what they think you mean, right? And they're drawing it out. And what is cool about this is, it's a fun laugh because no one's picture is going to be amazing, right?
Sure.
But what's cool is we learn tiny little things about people's communication style. For example, it may have been really helpful for me that you used imagery, draw a half moon. Or if my brain processes differently, that may have been really hard for me that you used that imagery. Or I may have really appreciated, hey, Robin, when you told me I was doing a good job in the middle of me trying to draw when I felt like I was clearly flailing about and had no clue what was going on, that made me feel really good. So then we kind of learned these different aspects of like, oh, okay, Robin's our person who can make people feel good no matter what they feel like they're failing in, right? Or Robin is really great at communicating using imagery. Or Robin is really great at using descriptive words to handhold someone through an activity. So these are really cool, just a few examples of learning communication styles and being able to have that debrief together to understand each other better.
Awesome. Yeah. And it's not just one way communication as well, saying this person communicates this way. It sounds like this activity would be helpful to understand, how people best receive communication, whether it's input or whether it's direction or feedback as well. I can see this really clearing up a lot of potential miscommunications along the way.
Exactly. You nailed it. I
Very
have a
cool.
lot of fun in-person communication activities, and it's exactly the same of what you said with how do I give directions? How do I receive directions? And so again, no matter what the activity is, it's all about the discussion afterwards. Like that's where you find the gold, because then you start to learn, hey, if I have to tell you about a project that I need help on, I understand how you receive information a little bit better, and I can meet you there, right? I can describe it in a way that I know is going to make sense to you.
Yeah. And being on the receiving end of that, I appreciate you going the extra mile to take that into account so that we can have a more cohesive but also efficient conversation too. I love that.
Absolutely.
Very cool. Well, thanks so much, Paige. I can see how that could be done, both, with pencil and paper, but also through technology like Google Drawing, or I know, Zoom has a feature for that. I personally have a whiteboard. I'd be happy to, turn around and be the drawing person for that activity. So there's a lot of different ways that this and the other activities can be done, both virtually and, analog if necessary. So, Paige, thank you so much. These 2 tips and 3 activities are super, super helpful, and our viewers can absolutely just take them and run with them. Thank you for sharing that with us. And, if people are experiencing that Zoom fatigue that you mentioned earlier, if there's a little bit too much screen time happening, those of you who are watching, you could reach out to Square Circle and we can absolutely talk about what these or other activities could look like for you depending on your team's needs. And even if you guys are having a little bit of that screen time fatigue and burnout, we can tailor something that works to help you develop your relationships with your team, even in this disconnected environment. So Paige,
absolutely.
thank you. This has been fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. And I think that the customizing is the fun challenge of some of these types of activities, right? When you talk about we can bring them offline, like there are other ways to do things that make sense for all different types of teams and organizations.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you, viewers, for watching this. If you feel like you or other team leads could be taking advantage of these types of tips and activities, please share this video out and reach out to us at Square Circle at sema@asquarecircle.com. We'll share that information with you in the caption as well. So reach out if you have any questions or if you feel like you could use some help around these activities. And we will see you in the next episode of Belong. Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you.